Heading east from Seville, the train journey was smooth across the plains of southern Spain. I was going back to Córdoba, this time to spend more time there than a train change. Córdoba was warm in April, but not too warm, and I wandered around outside the station getting my bearings. The station is in the new town, and I decided to walk to the old town where I was staying. You can walk there through the new town from the station, or you can walk down a series of parks and cut across into the old town some way down. The old town streets were chock full of tourists, and I hoped Córdoba wasn't going to be like that the whole time. But next day at 7 a.m. the streets were quiet, and this is the perfect time to explore the city. The Mosque-Cathedral or Mosque-Cathedral and Alcazar are closed at this hour, and all you can see is the outside walls. Walking down to the river, the sun was coming up and it was a beautiful sight. Behind a giant disused water wheel is an old Roman bridge, and the sun was rising just behind it. At that time you have the city almost to yourself, just a few early walkers on the way to work. There's a small shrine with red candles to a Catholic saint on the bridge, and on the far end of the bridge a small fort with residential buildings at its foot. Looking back across the bridge, the Mosque-Cathedral was lit by a golden light and looked its best at this hour. On one side of the bridge was the dawn sun, and on the other the setting moon. The river was very still. Unlike yesterday when I arrived, the old Jewish quarter was also quiet, and I wasn't fighting my way around the tourists so early. The narrow streets and old buildings were beautiful before the city awakened. At 8 a.m. the Mosque-Cathedral gates opened, and we were able to go into the inner courtyard. The courtyard has orange trees growing in there, and a fountain for worshippers to cleanse in. On one side of the courtyard is a bell tower, and you can access this with a special ticket. Only 20 people at a time are allowed, with 150 steps to the top. Originally built as a Muslim minaret, its function changed somewhat when the Catholics took power again in this part of Spain. Historically, the courtyard was full of palms in Islamic times, and the orange trees were a later addition. People sat in the courtyard, waiting for the 8:30 entry to the main Mosque-Cathedral space, enjoying the fountains. A queue formed along the side of the courtyard, but not to worry, the inside is huge and can accommodate many visitors. Inside the massive space, red and white double arches extend the length of the mosque. When the Catholics regained control of Córdoba, they decided to build a church inside the mosque, hence its double function. Both the Christian parts and Muslim parts of the building are very ornate, but somehow they fit together. There are side rooms off the main space with relics in them, but the biggest crowds are for the Muslim niche, or mihrab, which points to Mecca. In Córdoba's case, this is particularly splendid with mosaics and inscriptions. Not just a niche, but a whole sanctuary. Its glow comes from gold leaf between layers of glass. Many legends have sprung up about the complex, and it's difficult to tear yourself away from its history and beauty. But I had to leave Córdoba, and with one last look at the bridge, I headed back through the new town and parks to the station, and waited for my train back to Malaga. I repeated my journey from Malaga to Córdoba, this time in reverse, with the train to Antequera, and then a bus back through the hills and mountains north of Malaga. This time I got a better view of the hills, and this is a very beautiful region of Spain. The last time I was there was on a motorcycle, a fantastic region to ride through. Then down to the coast near Malaga, and I saw the city nestled against the blue Mediterranean. I only had time to do one thing in Malaga, and I decided to head to the nearest beach. Not the best beach, but a nice park to walk through on the way. Andalusia had been amazing once more, and I hope there will be more trips in the future. Thanks for watching.